on the road. You got to come be a part of it. It's always a good time. Transitioning here. Here's a question. What separates good from elite when it comes to NFL quarterbacks? Well, how accurate they are under pressure. For instance, Manning had an accuracy rate of 69% in 2013, and at Brady's peak in 2010, he led the league with an accuracy rate of 71% on passes under pressure. Since then, Brady's declined, folks. Last year, he was just 57.6% accurate when it comes to passes under pressure. That's 28th in the league. Sam Monson of Pro Football Focus, writing for ESPN.com Insider, summarized it this way. Brady is no longer an elite quarterback. Manning is the standard by which all quarterbacks are measured. And Rodgers and Breeze remain worthy of places on the quarterback Mount Rushmore. But Brady, blasphemy, has slipped below passers like Phillip Rivers and Ben Roethlisberger. All right, Stephen A., looking at some of these stats. Does this mean that Brady's no longer a top 5 quarterback?
Let me say this. Although I'm on the record saying that I believe that the New England Patriots are truly America's team and not the Dallas Cowboys.
We don't care about that.
Okay?
What?
I've often talked about how Tom Brady will tap dance in the pocket like the late Gregory Hines, God rest his soul.
I'm applauding that line. It's been like 3 months since I heard
right.
that.
And when you put pressure on him, definitely, I'm absolutely on the money. I mean, he tap dances with the best of them. There's no doubt about it. And he is certainly not that bad man that he is, Aaron Rodgers, who's a bad man. I don't care what anybody says. He's the best in the game. Now, I love me some Aaron Rodgers. There's no quarterback, including Peyton Manning, that I would take ahead of Aaron Rodgers. I'm sorry. He's a bad man. Now, having said all of that.
Why are you giggling?
It is blasphemous to say this about Tom.
Thank you.
Okay,
It really, really is.
The man has seen the light.
Listen. I can mess with Tom Brady all I want to. And nothing compared to how I mess with the Dallas Cowboys. But this dude is an elite quarterback of the highest order. Over the last 4 seasons, they've won at least 12 games. They've won at least 12 games over 6 over the last 8 seasons. Tom Brady, yes, he has been without a Super Bowl championship since 2004. But when I look at some of the pieces he has had to work with, I mean, obviously Randy Moss came in 2007, but this is a man that won Super Bowls with Troy Brown and those guys. Not to knock them because they could play, but I'm just saying in terms of the elite receivers in the game, he's never had them outside of Randy Moss. When you look at last year, the Julian Edelmans of the world, after you let go of the Wes Welkers of the world, okay, you got Ridley as your running back, or it was Blunt, depending on who was in Bill Belichick's doghouse. The list goes on and on. The fact is that Tom Brady is what enabled you to remain afloat, particularly when the defense on so many occasions was more than suspect, to be kind, and which is egregious, by the way, considering the greatness of Bill Belichick, the fact that defense is his signature, the fact that he won Super Bowls as a coordinator on the defensive side of the ball, how their defense has suffered so much over the years is something that he has to be called on the carpet for. And I say that respectfully because I know about the greatness of Bill Belichick, and I don't question it, okay? But Tom Brady was and is phenomenal. Yeah. And the fact that people will point to, well, pressure, he's only completes 45% of his passes when he's under pressure, and blah, stop it. Here's my bottom line. I'm going to roll with my boy Skip on this when we talk about the eye test. That Super Bowl against the Seattle Seahawks, I don't think that would have happened like that if Tom Brady was the quarterback.
Right.
Now, I'm not blaming Peyton Manning, because you had dudes that were petrified. They were scared to death. And they know who they are in the Denver Broncos. They should be ashamed of themselves. And by the way, even though I'm not going to accuse him of being scared, there is still an APB out for the now New York Jets wide receiver, Eric Decker, who was a member of the Denver Broncos at the time. We saw him before the Super Bowl because he did an interview. We saw him, we heard about him after the Super Bowl because there was a quote. So there is evidence he was there at MetLife Stadium, except for those 60 minutes when the game was actually taking place, because we couldn't find him, okay? And all I'm saying is, even though that's the case, Peyton Manning looked incredibly rattled. And I don't blame him because the defense was legit and nobody was getting open. But I just don't believe that with Tom Brady as your quarterback, that it goes down like that. I'm not saying New England would not have lost, because I believe they would have. But they wouldn't have went down like that. They wouldn't have gone down like that. So to me, Tom Brady is still elite. I don't want to hear anything about a decline, because to be quite honest with you, I don't think it's fair to try and quantify that when you strip the man of his weapons. Right. Give him some weapons who are healthy on the field with him, then come talk to me about what Tom Brady is and is not.
Okay, but
Very
to
fair.
underline what you pointed out, you did repeat your late, great Gregory Hines line. Tap dances. And once upon a time on this network, our friend Ryan Clark uttered the infamous quote that Brady sees ghosts. And that's the way the Steelers viewed Tom Brady. And by the way, against the Steelers
and isn't that when he dropped 55?
Oh, he was mad.
When he dropped 55?
He gave him 400 last year.
Yeah.
All right. Look, they all see ghosts. Peyton Manning sees ghosts, too. He just sees them faster than Tom Brady does, because Peyton gets rid of the ball quicker than Tom, who will hang in and try to make a play that he probably shouldn't try to make. Now, back to the article at hand. I do not know Sam Monson, so I don't want to make this sound like some kind of personal attack on him. I'm sure he's a fine fellow. But after I read his statistical breakdown of Tom Brady, and I emphasize the word breakdown because it was, I had to get up and walk around the room about 3 times just to calm down. Because I'm saying, time out. And to tell you the graph that I fixated on, the paragraph, could we put that up right now? Let me read this. This is right in the middle of his statistical breakdown. Out of nowhere, he says, people point to the his lack of receivers in 2013 as a reason for his comparative down year. But it's worth noting that it was also the poorest performance from the New England offensive line for several years. The unit posted its worst pass blocking efficiency figure, blah, 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 since this is Pro Football Focus, is that what it's called? Since Pro Football Focus has been grading tape. And at best, the unit was in the middle of the pack when it came to protecting Tom Brady. Well, as I read this, I kept waiting for the but. People say he didn't have any receivers, but we shouldn't worry about that. Or people, well, I can show you how bad his offensive line was, but we should discount. No, he doesn't have any buts in here. He just lets this paragraph stand in the middle of the statistical breakdown, and it completely discredits and disqualifies, to me, the rest of his opinion that we come away with from his statistical backup. So, to me, I'm going to say it again. This is laughable. I still think he is the best quarterback in pro football, and I thought last year was Tom Brady's greatest year yet, because he had laughably bad receivers and because the defense was decimated, because you've heard all this before, Mayo, Wilfork, Tommy Kelly, Brandon Spikes went on IR for the playoffs, and we all know that Aqib Talib, God bless him, in Denver now,
kept getting hurt in big moments.
He was there and he wasn't there. He was there. You couldn't trust him. You couldn't count on him. So think about this. Tom Brady got the New England Patriots last year within one game of the Super Bowl with laughably bad receivers and little or no defense. What an accomplishment. And just to point up just how bad the receiving corps was, he did have Gronkowski for 7 whole games. And when he had Gronk, they were really good. But when he didn't, he was throwing to Julian Edelman, a former 7th-round draft pick, and as you well know, a smaller college quarterback in college. And he hit him 105 times last year. Julian Edelman, are you kidding me? You know how I raved about Danny Amendola before the year? I said he'll be a little better than Wes Welker. Well, he couldn't stay healthy.
Which is what I told you.
He hobbled through 12
before the
games.
season. I told you he wasn't going to stay healthy.
All right. And then the 2 kids, Aaron Dobson, Kenbrell Tompkins, they lasted 12 games and were beat up at the end of the year and didn't contribute much down the stretch. Shane Vereen made it only 8 games, and he's a real threat coming out of the backfield. So my point is, who are you throwing to? Nobody to speak of. You made a start out of Julian Edelman, and remember the games like Denver, you're down 24-0 at half. Remember that Sunday night game? And in the second half alone, you score 31 unanswered on the Super Bowl-bound Denver Broncos defense, and you'd go 24 of 33 in the second half and overtime for 263 and 3 touchdowns. Wow, I thought Tom Brady was sensational, his best year yet. And then somebody comes out of the left field and says, no, he's not a top 5 quarterback. Yes, he is. He is.
Not mentioned in that article.
Well, he gives the one disqualifying paragraphs, but there's no but there. Okay, so we agree for very different reasons, but I say next question.
You don't agree.
Well,
I'm done.
The thing about it is I'm looking at some of Tom Brady's numbers here, and I'm looking at what they're talking about when they allude to protection or lack thereof, and how it forces him, his completion percentage to dip significantly, etc. I'm looking at a man that, with the exception of 2008, has missed one game.
And that was
One game.
About the whole year.
One game. This guy has been quarterbacking the New England Patriots since 2001. And in that year, Skip, he missed one game. He didn't start two. He started 14, not 16. But that's it. Outside of that, since 2002, Tom Brady has missed one game. I'm sorry, not one game. The one season in 2008.
One season, yeah.
He missed the 2008 season because he got hurt against Kansas City in the season opener. Outside of that, the man has not missed a game since 2002. And you talk about how can you question his toughness? I don't understand that.
Okay.
I don't get that.
So you agree with me, Tom Brady is still the best quarterback in pro football?
Aaron Rodgers.
He didn't say that.
That's what he said.
Aaron Rodgers.
Making a strong case.
Aaron Rodgers. First of all, Tom Brady. Aaron Rodgers is a considerably better athlete. Okay, because he's more evasive. He can run with the football, not just throw it. Tom Brady isn't even in his class in that regard. You know this. And in terms of the ability to throw the football, as much as Tom Brady is big time, there is nobody, including Peyton Manning, including Drew Brees, there is nobody that flings that football better than Aaron Rodgers. Nobody.
Aaron Rodgers could not have done for the Patriots last year what Tom Brady did for the Patriots.
Excuse me. If Aaron Rodgers were on the New England Patriots with Bill Belichick as his coach with the same personnel that Tom Brady had, same injuries, everything, the New England Patriots would have been in the Super Bowl last year.
Nope, wrong. False.
I'm telling you right now.
You know, Aaron Rodgers would have gotten frustrated. He would have gotten upset.
Let me tell you what Aaron Rodgers would have done. Let me tell you what Aaron Rodgers would have done.
He would have.
Aaron Rodgers would have figured out a way. First of all, Aaron Rodgers would have ran with the football a few times, got a few extra first downs.
He would have gotten
would have kept drives running, which would have moved the chains, and it would have made things far more interesting. But let me tell you something right now. Aaron Rodgers, he's a bad.
I haven't heard him say that before.
There's only one bad man right now.
And that would be.
I love Tom Brady, but
he said that's Dwayne Wade.
He is not Aaron Rodgers.
Dwayne Wade's a bad man.
Okay, really quickly, Brady, according to Monsoon, remains good enough to keep the Patriots in the Super Bowl mix. So he gives them that, okay? They can be in the Super Bowl mix. Gentlemen, let's move on. It's a rematch of last year's finals. But